Newcastle United at home to Paris Saint-Germain. Now, this one, to say the least of it, eagerly awaited. Honestly, I would doubt if anyone can get their hands on a ticket for this. Newcastle back in the big time and about to face one of the biggest in the game. And they're getting them at a good time because PSG have made their worst start to any season under their Qatari owners as they sit fifth in the table in League 1. Let's go to St James's Park and join former Newcastle midfielder Lee Clark. Lee, hi to you. I mean, I take it all the talk up there is about this fixture. Tell me, what do you think you're going to see tonight?
Afternoon, guys. Yeah,
hi,
Jim.
Lee.
Hi, mate.
The talk, the city's absolutely electric. We're outside the stadium here now. There's a bundle of people just walking around in their strips, getting ready, and walking around the stadium, taking photographs. You can feel the atmosphere building at this early stage, and as you say, it's an exciting match for the club.
Lee, what do you think if Botman's not fit, they're going to do at the back? Because I know Dan Burns done brilliantly, I know, and when he went to centre back against Liverpool and he played there against Brighton, they didn't look as compact. Obviously, he struggled at centre back. Do you think he'll leave him at left back and put someone else in there, or do you think he'll move him in?
Well, Danny, what he done on Saturday against Burnley was brought the club captain Jamal Lascelles back into his natural position at centre back, left Dan at left back, and to be fair to Jamal, who hasn't played a lot of football, he's doing extremely well. I mean, Burnley didn't cause a lot of problems attacking wise, I've got to say, but for what he had to do, he done it well. So I think that could be the option. Eddie doesn't like to tinker, especially with the back four and the goalkeeper, and I think that's shown in our good run of form. In the last 5 games, we've kept 5 clean sheets, winning 4 of those and drawn the other one, and he doesn't like to tinker with that part of the team, so he tries to make the changes to the minimum, really. So I think that could be a strong option tonight.
Yeah, well, a defensive record last year was superb, so no wonder he doesn't tweak. But the strength of PSG, although they've had a bad run, they've got arguably, mate, the fastest front three I've ever seen. It's Dembele, Muani and Mbappe. I mean, I think Newcastle's best form of defence is to go after them, attack them.
I totally agree with you, Danny. I think, and that's Eddie's blueprint for the team, especially here at St James's, is to come out the traps quickly, play on the front foot, be aggressive in their pressing, and try and take the game to them. I don't think during Eddie's tenure, even when he first come in and things were difficult, he tried to sit back at any time, especially at St James's. The atmosphere is going to be electric. The show that's going to be on through the fans before the game, the atmosphere, the build-up, and they're going to have the fans right behind them. So I think they will go at them, as you say. Listen, these have world-class players, but Jim mentioned it there at the start. It's the worst run they've had, the worst start they've had under this ownership group. They're not playing brilliantly, but they do have world-class players, and you've just rattled off the front three there. Send the fear into any back four, any team. But
well, you know what?
This Newcastle team will play on the front foot.
Yeah, and if they do, great. And the front players he's got available to him now, Eddie, good competition for places. There's obviously a lot more chat now up there of who should play instead of who and all that. You got Murphy, Almer on, but 2 for every position. What would you go with yourself tonight?
Well, there's 1 or 2 doubts, Danny, to be honest. Callum Wilson, we're not 100% sure if he's going to make it. He didn't make it against Burnley.
Yeah.
Harvey Barnes is obviously out till the new year, so that's restriction. I hope Wilson can make it, because what seems to be happening with him and Alexander Isak, they seem to be thriving off each other. Whichever one gets picked, when the other one comes on the pitch, seems to have a point to prove to Eddie and his staff, and they come on and they make a massive impact. So, as you said, that would give us the options at the top end of the pitch. If not, it does restrict us a little bit. Anthony Gordon started the season terrifically well, so he'll give us that pace and his dribbling ability. Miguel Almiron's coming off the back of scoring a terrific goal at the weekend. He has that pace as well for the transition. And I think obviously Isak will start as the striker, even if Callum is past fit, with him, having this niggle and possibly using him in the last areas of the game.
And if they are to win, there's not going to be many people in work tomorrow, is there?
Yeah, probably not.
The good thing, Danny, is most of the business owners up here will be the same. They'll not be in their businesses, so they'll not be worried about their employees.
Lee, do you know something? You probably do know this, Lee. Since the start of 2022, Newcastle have suffered 5 home defeats. Since the start of 2022. Yes. I mean, is Newcastle's biggest weapon tonight the home support?
It is, Jim, it is, and especially tonight with the expectation, the excitement of being back in the Champions League for over 2 decades, and to get a team with exciting players, and obviously one of the best, if not the best player in the world, in Kylian Mbappe on view. You know, the excitement's been building, you know, for weeks, and then today it's just, I've never known coming so early to the stadium, the atmosphere building so early in the day like it is today. Honestly, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that are wandering around and being ready. So yeah, it's as you say, the fans have got a massive part to play, but they've done that since the new ownership group have come in and Eddie's took over. The togetherness between everyone involved in the football club's been superb, and they've all helped each other.
Brilliant. Lee, good to speak to you. Lee Clark, former Newcastle midfielder, outside St James's Park for this lunchtime. I would have thought, Danny, tonight it's all about how the Newcastle players handle the emotion of the night.
Yeah, great point. I think so. I think you can get dragged into it. Nothing wrong with playing with passion, of course, but the quality they're up against, they've got to be really, really disciplined with the defending. Really, really switched on and start the game bright.
Mm. What do you think is a more special atmosphere? Anfield on a European night or this place tonight?
Anfield.
No time to think.
No.
Straight in with Anfield.
Well, I think part of that answer comes from my personal experiences.
Yeah.
I haven't had any experiences of Newcastle on a European night, so it's very hard to compare. One thing I can say is that in all my years of playing, the Newcastle supporters have been some of the most passionate and well-travelled. I mean, I've never seen an away support like it. They go everywhere in there. Thousands.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You've actually come round to liking them now, haven't you?
I never disliked them in the first place.
They didn't like you.
Oh, hold on.
Or some of them didn't.
If Newcastle gets smacked tonight, Simon will be in here tomorrow morning with a Cheshire cat grin.
Why do you say that? I don't dislike Newcastle.
I didn't say dislike them.
I had a great deal of affection for them as a result of my relationship with John and Douglas Hall. Very fond of Freddie Shepherd. I didn't like a section of their fan base that whenever, like all fan bases, whenever you observe on something that they don't particularly like, they inflate it up to you being an overall critic of their club.
I'm not sure that Newcastle are guilty of that.
They were.
You laughed when that fella came up to you in Newcastle Station. I was right beside you after you'd called the takeover deader than a dead thing from Deadland,
and he gave me a T-shirt.
And he had a T-shirt made to that effect.
Yeah,
and you chuckled with that.
Of course I did, because I was hoisted by my own petard. But the fact of the matter is there's a part of me, because of the ownership model, that doesn't particularly want Newcastle to do well. But there's a part of me,
which is fair enough,
which is honest, and there's a part of me that, because of the integrity of what the football club means to the community, that I do want it to do well for the fans. There was a small segment of fans that every time I opened my trap about this takeover and the nature of what it was and what it represented to English football and what it could represent, they took it as a personal insult and made everything else. And because I didn't particularly admire Rafa Benitez, and because I didn't go in and turn around and say that Mike Ashley was a devil incarnate, then there's a certain segment that were unpleasant about it.
But it was also because you constantly stuck to the line that the Saudi takeover will never happen.
Well, I constantly stuck to the line that I didn't believe it was right for it to happen, and I didn't believe that the Saudis...
No, you said it would never happen.
I did not believe that the Saudis would admit piracy and pay BeIN £1 billion. It's got nothing to do with separation of powers. It's to do with the fact that no one would have forecasted this. They denied piracy. They said that BLQ wasn't broadcasting from Saudi. Yeah. They then copped to it. And the moment they copped to it, all these ridiculous Newcastle fans went, oh, it's not the Saudi government that owns us. It's the PIF fund.
I don't know if he's listening or not, but your chum and mine, Nasser Al-Khelafi, the chairman of PSG, is on his way to the northeast and is heading up there. And no doubt will savour a fantastic atmosphere tonight.
Great for the support.
Go for it, Newcastle United. Go and win it. How good would that be?
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.